Victoria Ellis straightened the stack of reports for the third time that morning, her fingers trembling slightly as she checked the clock. 8:55. 5 minutes before Nathan Blackwell's weekly strategy meeting, and everything needed to be perfect. After 3 years as his executive assistant, she had learned that perfection was merely the starting point. Rarely enough to earn even a nod of acknowledgement, she gathered the documents and walked silently across the plush gray carpet toward the conference room. Nathan stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his tall frame silhouetted against the Manhattan skyline. He did not turn when she entered, his attention fixed on something far below in the bustling streets. The senior executives arrived one by one, filling the leather chairs around the massive oak table. Victoria distributed the reports efficiently, moving like a ghost through the room. When she placed the folder in front of Nathan, he finally spoke. "You took your time." His voice was cold, devoid of any warmth. Victoria glanced at the wall clock. 8:58. "Sir, the meeting begins at 9. For me, anything less than early is late." Nathan turned, taking the folder without meeting her eyes. "You may leave." She felt heat rise to her cheeks, but kept her expression neutral. "Actually, sir, I prepared an additional analysis on the market expansion strategy. It is on the last page. I believe it could help with the decision. Leave strategic thinking to the strategists." Nathan did not even glance at the document. "You have other responsibilities, go." Victoria pressed her lips together, nodded once, and left. The glass door closed behind her with a soft click that seemed to echo through the entire floor. She returned to her desk in the corner, far from the main offices, where Nathan never had to see her unless absolutely necessary. This was not the first time. In 3 years, Victoria had lost count of how many times her ideas were dismissed, how many times he interrupted her mid-sentence, how many times he sighed with impatience when she asked questions. Nathan never called her by name, only you or the assistant. To him, Victoria was furniture, functional but forgettable. An hour later, the meeting ended. The executives emerged, discussing the new expansion project with enthusiasm. James Parker, the strategy director, walked past her desk smiling. "Brilliant idea, that market expansion approach," another executive said, clapping James on the shoulder. Nathan approved it immediately. Victoria froze. That was her idea, the analysis she had developed over weeks of research. Nathan had credited it to James without hesitation. She blinked rapidly, forcing tears back. Crying here would give Nathan exactly what he wanted. Confirmation that she was too weak for this environment. Victoria breathed slowly and returned to typing, her fingers shaking slightly on the keyboard. "You." Nathan's voice cut through her thoughts. She looked up. He stood in his office doorway, holding several papers. "Yes, sir. These contracts are wrong. Redo them." He tossed the documents onto her desk. Victoria picked them up and examined them quickly. "Sir, I checked these 3 times before printing. The page numbers are correct. All signatures are in place." Nathan sighed. That sound she knew too well, as if dealing with a stubborn child. "Then check a 4th time. You always need extra time to understand simple instructions." He returned to his office before she could respond. Victoria reviewed each page again. Everything was correct, exactly as it should be. Nathan had not really looked, he just wanted something to criticize. The day dragged on in a succession of small humiliations. Whenever Victoria tried to contribute to a discussion, Nathan cut her off. Whenever she took initiative, he questioned it. Throughout it all, no one around seemed to notice or care how he treated her. At 7 in the evening, when most people had left, Victoria finally shut down her computer. She was gathering her things when she noticed a white envelope on her desk. Frowning, she opened it. It was an invitation to Blackwell Industries' annual charity gala, scheduled for 2 weeks away. Every year she received one, and every year she ignored it. What was the point of attending an event where she would be as invisible as she was in the office? Victoria was about to throw the invitation in the trash when she hesitated. Something inside her, a small spark of rebellion, held onto the paper. She tucked the invitation into her purse and left. The next day during lunch, Grace Monroe would not accept excuses. "You're going to this gala," her best friend declared, crossing her arms over the restaurant table. "I will not hear a no, Victoria. Grace, I do not have a dress. I do not have time. And honestly, I see no reason to go." "The reason is you," Grace interrupted. "Victoria, for 3 years you have killed yourself working for that horrible man, and you never do anything just for yourself. One night. Give me one night to make you feel special. Victoria stirred her salad thoughtfully. It will not change anything. I will still be invisible there. Or maybe not. Grace smiled, her eyes shining with determination. Maybe it is time to show everyone who you really are, especially your idiot boss. Despite everything, Victoria found herself smiling. There was something liberating about the idea of appearing at that event. It's not as the fated assistant, but as herself, even if just for one night. Okay, she conceded. But if I regret it, it is your fault. Deal. Grace laughed. Trust me, you will not regret it. Victoria had no way of knowing then. But that decision would change everything. The Saturday of the gala arrived with clear skies and Victoria's anxiety at peak levels. Grace appeared at her apartment at noon, carrying shopping bags and contagious energy. First stop. Salon. Everything is already scheduled, Grace announced, accepting no protests. At the salon, the stylist evaluated Victoria's hair with a professional eye. We will do a deep conditioning treatment and style it in soft waves. Your hair is beautiful. It just needs special care. 3 hours later, Victoria observed her reflection with surprise. Her chestnut hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, shining in a way she had not seen in years. The makeup enhanced her green eyes without exaggeration, and even her nails with discreet burgundy polish seemed to belong to someone else. Grace. This is so different, Victoria murmured, touching her face carefully. This is you. Grace smiled with satisfaction. Just the version that never had time to appear. Now come on, we still need the dress. Back at the apartment, Grace pulled from a bag a dress that made Victoria catch her breath. It was emerald green, elegant, with perfect draping that flattered without being vulgar. I cannot wear this. It is too perfect. Exactly what you deserve. Grace pushed the dress into her hands. Try it on now. When Victoria emerged from the bedroom, even she did not recognize the woman in the mirror. The dress embraced her figure elegantly. The loose hair framed her face. And for the first time in a long time, she felt beautiful. Perfect Grace had tears in her eyes. Now you go there and show everyone who Victoria Ellis really is. At 8 in the evening, the car stopped in front of the 5-star hotel. Victoria looked at the imposing building, golden lights illuminating the entrance, elegant guests climbing the marble staircase. For a moment, she wanted to ask the driver to turn back. You can do this, she whispered to herself, opening the door. Climbing the staircase felt eternal. With each step, Victoria felt eyes turning toward her. Work colleagues, who never noticed now, observed her with evident curiosity. Trying to identify who was that woman in emerald green, the ballroom was stunning. Immense crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Tables decorated with white flowers occupied the space, and an orchestra played in the background. Waiters circulated with trays of champagne and elaborate appetizers. Victoria accepted a glass and looked for a discreet corner, but discovered that being discreet in that dress was impossible. Some people greeted her, others just watched. It was strange being noticed after so long being invisible. Victoria, my God, is that you? James appeared beside her, eyes wide. You look completely different. Hi, James. She smiled politely, not knowing quite what to say. You look stunning, he stammered. I did not know you came to these events. Before Victoria could respond, a movement at the entrance caught everyone's attention. Nathan Blackwell had arrived, impeccable as always in a black tuxedo, upright posture, bored expression. He greeted some important people with cold cordiality, accepted a glass he barely touched, Victoria observed from afar. Even there at a social event, Nathan seemed isolated in his own fortress of ice. He looked around the ballroom with evident disinterest, till his eyes stopped on someone. A woman in an emerald green dress. Nathan frowned slightly. There was something familiar about her, but he could not identify what. He was about to look away when a man approached the woman. Ryan Sterling was known in business circles as a successful investor. Light brown hair impeccably cut, charming smile that won people over icily. He had just returned from time abroad and already circulated through the event, as if he were the host. Good evening. We have not met, have we? Ryan stopped in front of Victoria, eyes traveling over her face with genuine interest. Ryan Sterling. Victoria felt her face warm. Victoria Ellis. Victoria. He repeated the name slowly, smiling. Enormous pleasure. You work at Blackwell Industries? Yes, in the administrative sector, she responded, avoiding saying she was an assistant. A beautiful woman like you should not be alone at a party. Ryan extended his hand. May I have this dance? Victoria hesitated only a second before accepting. When was the last time someone asked her to dance? When was the last time someone noticed? Ryan led her to the dance floor with ease, positioning his hand on her waist delicately. He was a good dancer, and Victoria surprised herself by keeping up without difficulty. You dance well, he commented. You seem nervous, though, little Victoria admitted, allowing herself to smile. I do not usually come to these events. You should. You light up the room. The compliment caught her off guard. It had been so long since someone said something kind that made her feel seen from across the ballroom. Nathan finally recognized who the woman in emerald green was. Victoria, his assistant, the woman he barely noticed in the office, was there, transformed. Radiant in Ryan Sterling's arms, something strange crossed Nathan's chest. An uncomfortable sensation, almost suffocating. He saw when Ryan whispered something in Victoria's ear. Saw when she threw her head back and laughed genuinely, a sound he had never heard. Saw when the two moved across the floor as if they had danced together for years. Nathan dismissed a waiter offering champagne, completely ignored a director who tried to converse, and realized he could not take his eyes off that emerald green dress. When Ryan kissed Victoria's hand in a chivalrous gesture, Nathan gripped his glass so tightly it shattered in his hand. The sound of breaking glass made some nearby people look. But Nathan did not even notice. His eyes were fixed on Victoria. She felt the stare and turned her head. Her eyes met Nathan's across the ballroom. For the first time in 3 years, he was looking directly at her. Not through her, not ignoring her existence, but really seeing her. The intensity of that look made Victoria stumble slightly. Everything okay? Ryan asked, noticing yes, sorry. She returned attention to him, but still felt the weight of Nathan's gaze. Ryan followed the direction and saw Nathan watching. An interested smile appeared on his lips. He knew that look well. He pulled Victoria a bit closer, gently but possessively, and continued dancing. Nathan dropped the glass shards on a table, not caring about the small cut on his palm. He began crossing the ballroom, firm steps, controlled face, but eyes revealing something he himself did not understand. Jealousy. For the first time in 6 years, Nathan Blackwell felt jealous, and he had no idea what to do about it. The music continued soft while Victoria and Ryan danced. He made her laugh with intelligent comments, asked about her dreams with genuine interest, listened to her answers without interrupting. It was so different from everything Victoria knew in the work environment. You have a beautiful smile, Ryan said. You should smile more. I do not always have reasons at work, Victoria admitted without thinking. Then you need to change jobs, he suggested, eyes fixed on her. Or change bosses. From the other side of the floor, Nathan observed every movement. His hands were clenched in his pockets, jaw locked. He saw when Ryan leaned his head closer to Victoria, saw when she blushed slightly, saw when he spun her in his arms with familiarity. Nathan did not understand what was happening to him. That pressure in his chest, that almost uncontrollable urge to cross the floor and pull Victoria away from there, it was irrational, it was absurd. He never cared about her before. Why now, Nathan? Are you all right? A bored colleague asked, but he did not even respond. Ryan kissed Victoria's hand again. It's a theatrical but effective gesture. Nathan felt something break inside him. He left his position and walked straight to the dance floor. Victoria, the voice came out harsher than he intended. They stopped dancing. Victoria widened her eyes, seeing him there, standing a few steps away, with an expression she had never seen before. Mr. Blackwell, she managed to say. Nathan hated the formality. Hated the way she looked at him as if he were a stranger. He searched for some plausible excuse and could only invent something ridiculous. I need to talk to you about an urgent project. Victoria blinked, confused. Now, at the gala. It is urgent, Nathan insisted, knowing the excuse was terrible. Ryan could not contain an amused smile. Nathan, it is Saturday night at a party. Sure, it cannot wait until Monday? Nathan ignored him completely, keeping his eyes on Victoria. It is important. She looked from one man to the other, completely lost. In 3 years, Nathan never asked her opinion on projects, never sought her outside work hours. Why now? Okay, Victoria said, more out of habit to obey than conviction. Ryan released her waist slowly, but before pulling away completely, he lifted her hand and kissed it demonstratively. Until later, Victoria, I hope to continue our conversation after. Nathan had to control the impulse to push him away by force. When Ryan finally left, leaving them alone in the middle of the floor, the silence was awkward. What did you want to talk about? Victoria asked. Nathan opened his mouth, but nothing came out. There was no project, no urgency. He just could not stand seeing her with another man. And that was a truth even he was not ready to admit. The integration application, he improvised badly. I need your complete analysis by Monday. Victoria frowned. You took me from a dance to ask for something you only need on Monday? The question caught him off guard. She never questioned him, never pointed out inconsistencies. It is an important project, Nathan said, passing a hand through his hair, frustrated with himself. I want you prepared. The excuse sounded weak even to him. Nathan. Victoria used his name for the first time without the sir, and that made him look directly at her. What is happening? He had no answer. Or he had, but it was too terrifying to verbalize. Nathan looked away, unable to sustain those green eyes that seemed to see through him. Nothing. You can return to what you were doing, but he did not move out of the way. He stood there, blocking her passage back to where Ryan waited near the bar. Victoria tried to go around him. Nathan moved in the same direction, without thinking. Mr. Blackwell, please. There was growing irritation in her voice now. Before he could respond, Ryan returned with 2 champagne glasses. Victoria, I brought this for you. He offered a glass, purposefully ignoring Nathan. I missed you. Nathan felt his blood boil. Sterling, do you not have other investors to bother at this event? Ryan raised an eyebrow, not intimidated. Not when I find such pleasant company. He turned to Victoria. You were telling me about what you like to do outside work. I like to read, Victoria responded, accepting the glass. Mainly at night when I get home, a reader. Ryan smiled. What kind of books? Romance mostly, she admitted, blushing. I know it might seem cliché. It is not cliché. It is charming. Ryan took her free hand, caressing her fingers. A woman who believes in happy endings. Nathan could not take it anymore. He took a step forward, almost between the two. Victoria, we need to talk in private. Ryan laughed, still holding her hand. Nathan, you already talked to her. Let the woman enjoy the party. I was not talking to you, Nathan practically growled. Victoria widened her eyes. In 3 years working together, she had never seen Nathan lose his composure. He was always controlled, always cold. But now there was something dangerous in his eyes. Something that made her feel butterflies in her stomach. Nathan, I really do not know what else you need, she began. Stop calling me that, Nathan cut her off, voice low but intense. Stop with all that formality. Request left her speechless. Ryan observed everything with growing interest. Clearly understanding something Victoria still did not comprehend. I think you were bothering her. Nathan, Ryan said, placing himself slightly in front of Victoria. Victoria and I were having a very good conversation. I think you should find someone else to talk to, Nathan responded, invading Ryan's personal space. Is that a threat? Ryan asked, smile still on his face, but eyes getting harder. It is friendly advice. Stop. Victoria placed herself between the two, realizing the situation was escalating. You are making a scene. Everyone is watching. It was true. Several guests had stopped to observe the CEO of Blackwell Industries, clearly agitated over a woman. It was a spectacle no one expected to see. Nathan looked around, finally realizing where he was and what he was doing. Shame and confusion hit at the same time. He stepped back, trying to recover some dignity. I apologize, he said, though it was not clear if it was to Victoria, Ryan, or himself. Then he turned and left, crossing the ballroom with quick strides. Leaving a trail of curious looks, Victoria stood frozen, still processing what had happened. Her hand was where she had touched Nathan's arm, still feeling his warmth through the tuxedo fabric. Well, Ryan broke the silence, smile returning. That was revealing. Seems your boss has some jealousy issues? Jealousy? Victoria repeated, incredulous. He does not even know I exist. Oh, he knows now, Ryan laughed, putting his arm around her waist. And if I may say, it got much more interesting. Shall we dance? As they returned to the floor, Victoria could not stop looking in the direction Nathan had gone. For the first time in 3 years, she wondered what really went on in that impossible man's head, and why, of all things, she felt a pang of disappointment that he had left. The following week at the office was strange. Nathan was in his office, back turned to the glass door, talking on the phone with an overly controlled voice. When he turned and their eyes met through the glass, Victoria looked away quickly. She had barely turned on her computer when the intercom rang. My office now. Nathan's voice was dry, emotionless. Victoria took her tablet and walked there, stomach churning. When she entered, Nathan was leaning against the desk, arms crossed. I need the complete project analysis by end of day, he said without preamble. But there are 3 meetings today I need to organize. The monthly reports to prepare? Cancel everything, Nathan interrupted. I want you focused only on this. Victoria opened her mouth to argue, but something in his expression made her hesitate. There were discreet dark circles under his eyes, as if he had not slept well. She nodded and left, confused by the sudden urgency. The day continued strange. Nathan called her to his office 4 times with different excuses. He wanted to check a report that was already perfect. Needed her to verify a contract that had nothing wrong. Asked for coffee, and then said he changed his mind. Each time Victoria entered, he observed her in a way she could not decipher. At lunchtime, Victoria's cell phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Victoria, what a joy to hear your voice. It was Ryan, warm tone unmistakable. I got your number from reception. Hope you do not mind. Victoria smiled without noticing. Hi, Ryan, how are you? I have not stopped thinking about you since Saturday, he said. That conversation was left incomplete. Have lunch with me today. I know a great restaurant nearby. I would love to, but I have a lot of accumulated work, and 1 hour for lunch. You deserve it, Ryan insisted. Meet me at reception in 10 minutes. Before Victoria could respond, Nathan's door opened abruptly. I need you now, Nathan said, voice cutting. An urgent matter came up. Victoria covered the phone. I am on a call. Can I finish? It is urgent, Nathan repeated, eyes fixed on her. Ryan, I need to hang up, Victoria said quickly. Nathan needs me here. Nathan again. There was something different in Ryan's tone. All right, I will call you later then. When she hung up, Nathan was still standing in the doorway, tense. Who was that? Ryan Sterling. He invited me to lunch. Something passed over Nathan's face. And you are going? I was, but you said you have something urgent. Forget it. It is not that urgent, Nathan said, then seemed to regret it. I mean, yes, it is. You cannot leave today. Victoria stood there, processing the contradiction. Nathan noticed and looked away, visibly uncomfortable. It is about the project. I might need you at any moment, he justified poorly. In the following days, Ryan began appearing at Blackwell Industries with alarming frequency. He always had some meetings scheduled, always found a way to pass by Victoria's desk. He sent flowers, imported chocolates, notes with kind words. Victoria was enchanted. After years feeling invisible, having someone so attentive was like a dream. Ryan made her laugh, valued her opinions, treated her as if she were the most important person in the room. Nathan observed everything from his glass office with growing frustration. Each time he saw Ryan leaning over Victoria's desk, each time he heard her laughter echo through the corridor, he felt the urge to intervene. But he had no right, not after 3 years ignoring her. On Thursday, Ryan appeared at lunchtime with red roses. Victoria was visibly moved when he handed them in front of everyone. For the most interesting woman I have met, Ryan said loud enough for the entire floor to hear. Nathan was returning from an external meeting at that exact moment. He stopped in the corridor, saw the flowers, saw the smile on Victoria's face. Without saying a word, he returned to his office and called an emergency meeting for exactly lunchtime, including Victoria and 3 managers. For the 3rd consecutive day, Victoria had to cancel with Ryan Friday morning. Ryan asked to speak with Victoria in private. They went to the building's cafeteria, away from curious ears. Victoria, I need to tell you something important, Ryan began, face serious. It is about Nathan. She felt a tightness in her chest. What about him? I overheard a conversation he had with the board yesterday. Ryan lied with ease, concern perfectly rehearsed. They are planning a restructuring in the administrative sector. They will bring someone from outside, more experienced, to take over strategic functions. Victoria's world seemed to collapse. He is going to replace me. He does not see you as strategic, Victoria. Ryan held her hand gently. To him, you are just operational. All these meetings he calls you to are just grunt work. He will never truly value you. Tears burned in her eyes. It made sense. Nathan never valued her before. Why would it be different now? I have a proposal, Ryan continued. Work with me. My company is expanding. I need someone intelligent, capable. You would earn double and have the recognition you deserve. I need to think, Victoria murmured, confused and hurt. Of course, but do not take too long. Ryan squeezed her hand. Opportunities like this do not appear always. When they returned, Victoria was visibly shaken. Nathan noticed immediately. She avoided looking at him, responded with monosyllables, and there was sadness in her entire demeanor. That afternoon, when Nathan called her for another meeting, something in her broke. For what, Nathan? She asked, tired. Another meeting that does not exist? Another excuse to make me waste time? Nathan was stunned by her tone. Victoria, you need what? She interrupted, tears beginning to fall. To tell me you value me? That my ideas matter? Because I spent 3 years being invisible here and suddenly you want to keep me busy all the time? Why? Nathan had no answer he could give because the truth was impossible to admit. The strategic meetings are important, he tried. Weak justification. Not to me. Victoria shook her head, wiping tears angrily. Ryan told me? You were going to bring someone from outside? Someone more experienced? I always knew I would never be enough for you. Nathan felt the ground disappear under his feet. What? Who told you that? It does not matter if it is true or not. Victoria was crying openly now. What matters is it makes sense. You never valued me, Nathan, never. That is not true. Nathan took a step toward her. Ryan offered me a job. She cut him off. And I am going to accept. I am going to resign. The panic that crossed Nathan was visceral. No, you cannot do that. I cannot. Victoria laughed without humor. You do not control my life, Nathan. You only controlled my work, and even in that, you never respected me. She left the office before he could respond. Closing the door forcefully, Nathan stood alone, hands trembling, world crumbling. He needed to discover what Ryan had said, because that smelled like manipulation. And more importantly, he needed to stop Victoria from leaving. Even if for that he had to finally admit the truth he had been denying for months. He was in love with her. And he was about to lose her because of his own cowardice. The weekend was torturous for Nathan. He spent Saturday and Sunday thinking about Victoria, the pain in her eyes, Ryan's words that would not leave his head. Something was wrong. He never planned to replace her, never even thought about it. Where had Ryan gotten that information? Monday morning, Nathan arrived at the office earlier than normal. He needed answers. When Victoria entered at 8, he was waiting. I need to talk to you, Nathan said before she reached her desk. I have nothing to say, Victoria responded, avoiding looking at him. Victoria, please. There was something in his voice that made her stop. 5 minutes. It is important. She hesitated, but ended up agreeing. They entered his office, and Nathan closed the door. This story about replacing you. I want to know exactly what Ryan said. Victoria crossed her arms defensively. That you are planning a restructuring. That you will bring someone more experienced from outside. And he said he heard this from me. In what context? Nathan insisted. In a conversation with the board, Victoria responded, but something in Nathan's expression made her doubt. Why is it not true? We did not have any board meeting last week, Nathan said, eyes darkening. And even if we had, Ryan would not have access to that information. He is not part of the company. Victoria felt her stomach sink. But he said he lied. Nathan completed. Victoria, when was the last time you received notice for strategic meetings? She frowned, thinking. You stopped calling me 2 weeks ago. I thought it was because I was not. I did not stop. Nathan was already opening his laptop. I called you to 3 important meetings last week. You did not appear at any. He turned the laptop to her, showing the sent emails. There were 3 meeting notices with her name. I did not receive anything, Victoria protested. I swear, Nathan, I never received them. Nathan was already on his feet. Come with me. They went to Victoria's desk. Nathan asked permission and accessed her email settings. It did not take long to find an automatic rule created exactly 1 week ago that moved all emails from Nathan directly to trash and deleted them permanently. He did this, Victoria whispered, face pale. Ryan messed with my computer and told you I planned to replace you to get you away from here, Nathan completed, anger growing in his voice. He manipulated you, Victoria. Tears began to fall, from anger, humiliation, pain. But why? Why would he do this? Because he realized something I took too long to admit, Nathan said, voice becoming softer. And because hiring you would weaken my company. He is my competitor in 3 important bids. Before Victoria could process, Ryan appeared at reception with his usual smile. Good morning. I came to pick up my favorite person for coffee, he said, walking toward them. Nathan turned to him. And Victoria had never seen such a cold and dangerous expression. My office. Now, it was not a request. Ryan raised eyebrows. Nathan, I just came now, Nathan repeated. And something in his voice made even Ryan hesitate. The 3 entered the office. Nathan closed the door with controlled force. Tampered with her system, Nathan went straight to the point. You created a false rule, blocked my emails, and told her I planned to replace her. Ryan sighed, abandoning the charm. You really think you deserve her after 3 years treating her like trash? That does not give you the right to lie and manipulate. Nathan took a step toward him. I never planned to replace her. I did not lie about everything. Ryan looked at Victoria. You really deserve better. Someone who values you from day one, not someone who only woke up when he saw you with another man. You messed with my computer, Victoria said, voice trembling. You made me believe lies. You used my feelings. Because he does not deserve you, Ryan retorted, pointing at Nathan. How many times did he humiliate you, Victoria? How many times did he ignore you? And now, because he feels jealous, suddenly you are important. Leave my company, Nathan said, voice deadly. Now, before I make you leave. Ryan looked from one to the other, realizing he had lost. Victoria, the offer still stands. When you realize he will never change, I will be here, said Leave. Nathan advanced, and Ryan finally backed away. He left, slamming the door. The silence that remained was heavy, suffocating. Victoria was leaning against the wall, processing everything. Nathan wanted to go to her, comfort her, but did not know if he had that right. He was right about one thing, Victoria said finally, voice low. You humiliated me for 3 years, and you only changed when you felt jealous. I know, Nathan admitted, guilt evident, and I have no excuse for that. But Victoria, I never planned to replace you. Never. Why should I believe you? She asked, tears falling. You made me feel invisible every day. You made me doubt my competence, my value. Why? Because I was afraid. The words came out before Nathan could stop them. Afraid of what you made me feel from day one? Victoria looked at him, confused. What are you talking about? Nathan took a deep breath. It was now or never. It was left at the altar 6 years ago. The woman I was going to marry betrayed me with my partner. They took half the company I built. And since then, I decided that feelings were weakness. That if I never attached to anyone, I would never be hurt again. He took a step toward her. And then you appeared. Intelligent, dedicated, with brilliant ideas. I realized you could make me feel things I swore never to feel again. So I was cruel. I ignored you, diminished you, because it was easier than admitting I was afraid. Afraid of what? Victoria whispered. Of falling in love, Nathan confessed. And when I saw you at that gala in another man's arms, I realized it was too late. I had already fallen in love with you, and I was losing you because of my cowardice. Victoria was speechless. Her heart beat irregularly, mind trying to process everything at once. I am not asking you to forgive me now, Nathan continued. I know I do not deserve it. But I am asking for a chance to prove I changed. That you were always important. I was just too blind to see. Nathan, Victoria began, but did not know what to say. You do not need to answer now, he said quickly. Just do not leave. Not because of his lies. Stay. Give me a chance to show you who I can be, who I want to be for you. Victoria closed her eyes, trying to control the emotions that threatened to overflow. Part of her wanted to run, protect herself from more hurt. But another part, the part that had seen genuine vulnerability in Nathan's eyes, wanted to stay. I need time, she said finally, to process all this, to understand what I feel. Whatever time you need, Nathan promised. But please believe me when I say you are never dispensable. You are essential to the company and to me. Victoria nodded slowly, took her purse, and left early that day. Nathan did not try to stop her, just watched as she left, praying that, when she returned, she would give him a chance to do things right. Victoria spent 3 days at home thinking. Grace visited her twice, bringing food and listening to everything in silence. On Wednesday, when Victoria finally decided to return, she was nervous, but determined to understand her own feelings. When she entered the office, the first thing she saw was a cup on her desk. It was not the common coffee from the machine, but the cappuccino with cinnamon she always ordered from the corner cafe. Next to it, a simple note, "Welcome back. N." Victoria picked up the still warm cup and took a sip, closing her eyes. When she opened them, Nathan was at his office door, watching her carefully, as if she were something fragile that could break at any moment. "Hey, good morning, Victoria," he said softly. "Good morning, Nathan," she responded. "There was a meeting at 10 about the integration application." Nathan kept respectful distance. "I want you to present. It is your project, your ideas. The credit is yours." Victoria blinked, surprised. "You want me to present to the board?" "It should have always been you," Nathan said simply. "This time I am going to do it right." At 10 o'clock, Victoria entered the conference room with her heart racing. The 8 board members were there, experienced executives who had always ignored her. Nathan was at the head of the table. "Good morning," Nathan began. "Before we start, I need to make a correction. The project I presented last week was not my idea. It was Victoria Ellis's." He gestured toward her. "Today she will present the complete vision." The silence was absolute. Victoria felt all the looks, but this time it was different. It was respect, genuine interest. Nathan sat down. Giving her space, Victoria connected her laptop to the projector and began. The first words came out shaky, but as she talked about the project, her confidence grew. She knew every detail, every possibility, and for the first time, she was being truly heard. 40 minutes later, when she finished, the finance director was the first to speak. "Impressive. Why have we never seen you present before?" Victoria looked at Nathan. He sustained the look, guilt evident in his expression. "Because I did not give her the opportunity," Nathan said. "A mistake I do not intend to repeat." The meeting ended with unanimous approval. When everyone left, Nathan approached. "You were exceptional." There was genuine pride in his voice. "I always knew you were, but today you proved it to everyone." "Why are you doing this?" Victoria asked quietly. "Because you deserve it," Nathan responded. "You always deserved it. And because I want you to know this is not guilt, it is recognition." In the following 2 weeks, Nathan continued showing changes. He called her by name in all situations, asked her opinion before making important decisions, included her in strategic discussions. But more than that, he listened to her truly. When she spoke, he stopped everything and paid complete attention. Victoria began seeing a side of Nathan she did not know. He had dry humor that made her laugh, remembered small details she mentioned casually, and occasionally, when she thought she was not looking, she caught him watching her with an expression that made her heart race. One Friday night, working on a complex report, Nathan appeared at her desk at 8 o'clock. "Still here?" he asked. "Almost finished," Victoria responded, rubbing her tired eyes. Nathan looked at the screen, then at her. "Let me help." 2 brains work better than one. Victoria hesitated but ended up agreeing. Nathan pulled a chair and sat beside her. They worked in comfortable silence. Just the sound of keys and soft breathing filling the space. "Can I tell you something?" Nathan said suddenly. "Of course." He stopped typing, hands resting on the keyboard. "When I was betrayed, it was not just my heart that broke. It was trust. Renata told me she loved me every night, and in the morning woke up pretending for months. And when I realized I did not know how to read people, did not know who to trust. Victoria stopped too, turning to look at him. There was real pain in his eyes. So I built walls, Nathan continued. Walls so high no one could pass. It worked to protect my heart, but it also isolated me from everything. Until you, Nathan, Victoria began. You were real, he interrupted gently. Genuine. Even when I was cruel, you maintained your dignity. Even when I ignored your ideas, you kept giving your best. You never pretended to be someone else. He smiled sadly. And that terrified me, because it meant if I felt something for you, it would be real. There would be no way to protect myself. So I hurt you first. Victoria felt tears rising. And you want me to trust you now? I want you to give me time to prove I deserve your trust, Nathan said with firmness. I am not asking you to believe empty words. I am asking you to watch my actions day after day, until you can see I changed. They sat in silence, the air between them charged with unspoken emotion. I am afraid to, Victoria confessed. Afraid of believing this, that you will go back to being that cold man when the novelty passes. It is not novelty, Nathan said firmly. He turned her chair so they were facing each other. Victoria, what I feel has to do with how you make me want to be better, with how my day improves when you smile, with how you made me realize that living without feeling is not living. How can I trust? She asked, tears falling. Nathan wiped a tear with his thumb. Touch careful. Give me time to prove it. I am not asking for trust now. Just the chance to show you every day. Victoria looked in his eyes and saw sincerity. She saw fear too, because Nathan was opening up in a way he probably had not done in years. And she saw the beginning of something deeper. Slowly, she whispered, I need time. Whatever you need, Nathan promised, holding her hand. I am not going anywhere. They returned to work, hands joined, and when they finished, it was past midnight. Nathan insisted on taking her home, driving in comfortable silence, when they stopped in front of her building. Nathan turned off the engine but did not make a move to leave. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For giving me a chance. For not leaving when you had every reason to. Nathan looked at her. For making me want to be better.
I'll say this.
Victoria felt something loosen inside her. Without thinking much, she leaned in and kissed his cheek softly. When she pulled away, Nathan had his eyes closed, as if wanting to record that moment.
Good night.
Nathan, she said, getting out of the car.
Good night.
Victoria, he responded, watching her enter the building that night. For the first time in weeks, both slept in peace. There was a long road ahead, wounds to heal, trust to build. But for the first time, it seemed possible. It seemed they could find something real and lasting in the middle of all that. Confusion the following weeks brought visible transformation. Nathan was no longer the cold man from the past. He smiled easily, laughed at office jokes, and everyone commented on the change. Victoria flourished in her new role. Being increasingly recognized for her competence, 1 month after that night working together, Nathan appeared at her desk with a different invitation. Have dinner with me today? Outside the office? Away from work? He asked, and there was genuine nervousness in his voice, like a date. Victoria teased, Nathan blushed slightly. Yes, a real date if you want. I want, Victoria smiled. That night, Nathan took her to an elegant but cozy restaurant. They talked for hours, not about work, but about dreams, fears, things that made them laugh. I never imagined I could feel this, Nathan said, holding her hand across the table. After Renata, I thought this part of me had died. And now? Victoria asked softly. Now I feel alive again, he smiled. And terrified, but in a good way. Victoria squeezed his hand. I am terrified too, and we will be terrified together, Nathan said. As weeks turned into months, they built something solid. Not based on grand gestures or empty promises, but on small daily actions. Nathan proved every day he had changed, and Victoria learned to trust again. There were difficult moments, times when old insecurities resurfaced, when Victoria doubted and Nathan had to prove again. But he never gave up, never stopped showing that she mattered. 6 months after the gala, they were working late again. Victoria was concentrating on a report when she felt Nathan behind her, Victoria, he said softly. She turned and he was kneeling beside her chair. What are you doing? Her heart accelerated. I am not proposing yet, Nathan said quickly, seeing panic in her eyes. But I want you to know that I am going to. When you are ready, when we have built enough trust, I am going to ask you to marry me. Tears filled Victoria's eyes. Nathan, you do not need to answer now, he interrupted gently. I just wanted you to know that this is not temporary for me, that I see a future with you and I am willing to wait as long as necessary. Victoria pulled him up and kissed him. It was a soft kiss, full of promise and hope. Ask me when you are ready, she whispered against his lips, and I promise I will have an answer. Nathan smiled, pulling her closer. I love you, Victoria Ellis. I love you too, Nathan Blackwell, she responded. 1 year later, at another company gala, Victoria entered in a stunning dress. But this time, she was not alone or invisible. Nathan was by her side, hand on her back, looking at her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. Ready? He asked, with you? Always, Victoria smiled. As they entered together, everyone noticed. Not because of jealousy or drama, because they radiated happiness. Nathan had learned that love was not weakness, but strength. Victoria had learned that she deserved to be valued and seen, and together, they had built something real, something lasting. Something that started with jealousy, but transformed into genuine love. Later that night, as they danced under crystal chandeliers, Nathan pulled a small box from his pocket. Victoria Ellis, he said, getting on one knee right there on the dance floor. You taught me to feel again, to trust again, to love again. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Victoria's face as she nodded. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As Nathan slipped the ring on her finger, the entire ballroom erupted in applause. But for them, there was only each other. Two wounded people who found healing in love. A boss who learned humility. An assistant who discovered her worth. And a love story that began with jealousy, but ended with forever. Because sometimes, the best love stories are the ones where people grow, change, and become better versions of themselves for each other. And Victoria and Nathan had done exactly that. Sometimes the person who makes you feel invisible is the one who sees you most clearly. They are just too afraid to admit it. But when love breaks through fear, when pride gives way to honesty, when two people choose growth over comfort, that is when real magic happens. Victoria and Nathan's story reminds us that everyone deserves to be valued, that change is possible, and that true love is built not on perfect beginnings, but on the courage to start again and do better.